order the meeting of the Cortland City Council. Today is Monday, October 7th, 2024. I invite everyone to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for a brief prayer. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for the privilege and the opportunity to serve you and to serve the city. We ask for your wisdom and guidance on the decisions before us this evening. Lord, we also ask you to keep in your prayers the folks in Florida who have dealt with Hurricane Helene and the new one's coming. I think it's Milton. Please watch over them and protect them. We ask this in your name. Amen. Rhonda, can I have a roll call, please?
Jim Bradley.
Here.
Kathy Fleischer. Here. Dick McLean.
Here.
Don Moore.
Here.
John McCurry.
Here.
Scott Rowley.
Here.
Kevin Pyros.
Here. We have a motion for the approval of minutes from the September 16th, 2024 council meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Any corrections? Rhonda, can I have a roll call?
Kathy Fleischer.
Yes.
Dick McLean.
Yes.
Don Moore.
Abstain.
John McCurry.
Yes.
Scott Rowley.
Yes.
Jim Bradley.
Yes.
Kevin Pyros.
Yes. Okay, next we have a motion for the approval of schedule of bills to be paid totaling $80,993.51.
So moved. Second.
Any questions? Rhonda, can I have a roll call?
Dick McLean.
Yes.
Don Moore.
Yes.
John McCurry.
Yes.
Scott Rowley.
Yes.
Jim Bradley.
Yes.
Kathy Fleischer.
Yes.
Kevin Pyros.
Yes. Okay, we have a couple of items of old business this evening. First up is ordinance O-59-24. An ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into an LPA, Federal Local Let Project Agreement with the State of Ohio Department of Transportation to establish the responsibilities for the administration for resurfacing Main Street, known as Project PRU-E Main Street, PID 117384. This is the third and final reading submitted by the service director. May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
John?
Kevin, because I work for ODOT, I will be abstaining. Thank you.
Thank you very much, John. Any questions? Okay, Rhonda, can I have a roll call, please?
Don Moore.
Yes.
John McCurry.
Abstain.
Scott Rowley.
Yes.
Jim Bradley.
Yes.
Kathy Fleischer.
Yes.
Dick McLean.
Yes.
Kevin Pyros.
Yes. Next is ordinance O-60-24, an ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement with GPP Group, Inc. to perform engineering and adjunct services for resurfacing Main Street, known as Project PRU-E Main Street, PID 117384. This is the third and final reading submitted by the service director. May I have a motion, please?
So moved. Second. Kevin, because I work for ODOT, I will be abstaining.
John?
John McCurry.
Abstain.
Scott Rowley.
Yes.
Jim Bradley.
Yes.
Kevin Fleischer.
Yes.
Dick McLean.
Yes.
Don Moore.
Yes.
Kevin Pyros.
Yes. Okay, next is ordinance O-61-24, an ordinance authorizing the participation in the Ohio Environmental Protection Agency H2 Ohio Rivers Initiative Chloride Reduction Grant Agreement for a new salt storage bin in the city of Cortland. This is the second reading submitted by the service director. May I have a motion, please?
So moved. Second.
Any questions? Rhonda, can I have a roll call?
Scott Rowley.
Yes.
Jim Bradley.
Yes.
Kathy Fleischer.
Yes.
Dick McLean.
Yes.
Don Moore.
Yes.
John McCurry.
Yes.
Kevin Pyros.
Yes. Okay, that concludes our old business and a few items of new business this evening. First up is Resolution R-49-24, a resolution authorizing the clerk of council of the city of Cortland to advertise for bids for the West Main Street Water Line Replacement Project. This is submitted by the service director. May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
This project is finally going out to bid. Sometime coming. We have ARC money, we have Department of Development money on this project, as well as OPWC loan for the remaining. So, we are gonna get it awarded by the end of the year, so heads up. They'll probably construct it maybe spring of next year, but that's gonna be up to the contractor. So, but yeah, finally going to bid.
Thank you for all of your work to We'll talk this through eventually.
Took too long.
Any questions from Kim? Okay, Rhonda, can I have a roll call, please?
Jim Bradley?
Yes.
Kathy Fleischer?
Yes.
Dick McLean?
Yes.
Don Moore?
Yes.
John McCurry?
Yes.
Scott Rowley?
Yes.
Kevin Pyros?
Yes. Okay, next is ordinance O-63-24, an ordinance amending ordinance O-62-24, the annual appropriation ordinance for the city of Cortland, county of Trumbull, state of Ohio, for fiscal year ending on the 31st day of December 2024. This is an emergency submitted by the finance director. May I have a motion, please?
So moved. Second.
May I have a motion on the emergency, please?
So moved. Second.
Patty?
This is, we need to increase appropriations due to all the new funding that we're receiving.
Any questions, Patty? Okay, Rhonda, can I have a roll call on the emergency, please?
John McCurry?
Yes.
Scott Rowley?
Yes.
Jim Bradley?
Yes.
Kathy Fleischer?
Yes.
Dick McLean?
Yes.
Don Moore?
Yes.
Kevin Pyros?
Yes. And now a roll call on the ordinance, please.
Don Moore?
Yes.
John McCurry?
Yes.
Scott Rowley?
Yes.
Jim Bradley?
Yes.
Kathy Fleischer?
Yes.
Dick McLean?
Yes.
Kevin Pyros?
Yes. Okay, next is ordinance O-64-24, an ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement with Infinity Construction to serve as the construction manager at risk for pre-construction for the City of Portland Safety Services Complex. This is an emergency submitted by the mayor. May I have a motion, please?
So moved. Second.
May I have a motion on the emergency, please?
So moved.
Second.
Any questions? All right. May I have a roll call on the emergency, please?
Dick McLean?
Yes.
Don Moore?
Yes.
John McCurry?
Yes.
Scott Rowley?
Yes.
Jim Bradley?
Yes.
Kathy Fleischer?
Yes.
Kevin Pyros?
Yes, and now a roll call on the ordinance itself, please.
Kathy Fleischer?
Yes.
Dick McLean?
Yes.
Don Moore?
Yes.
John McCurry?
Yes.
Scott Rowley?
Yes.
Jim Bradley?
Yes.
Kevin Pyros?
Yes. Okay, that concludes our new business. I'll move on to report. Fire Department, Chief Rep.
Now you want the good news or bad news first? No, I'll give you the bad news. We were denied for SAFER and AFG. Fortunately, we made it further than we did the last time on the SAFER grant. I know we got pushed through to at least the second round. Took some calls as we were going through the process from the guy that was doing the evaluation. He's like, you know, you're gonna get at least pushed on a little bit further than we got before, so we're getting closer. And AFG, they closed out about the same time. So SAFER will reopen, I think he said January. Hope they're trying to get it back on track, so they keep pushing it forward.
Chief, do they give you comments on like what areas we maybe scored not as high as others competing?
Yeah, I believe we can get that as far as a raw score. I don't know if there's any true comments to why they scored us that way, but we can get our raw, should be able to get our raw scores. And I talked to our grant writer, and he said, you know, next year, I'll do it again, you know, discount, and also discount on should we be awarded it. So hopefully he will have a little more insight onto maybe why we got scored or how we did. Maybe we'll work our way through it. On the good news, see, that wasn't too hard. The good news, ladder patrol's back in service, came back last week. I got to tell on myself, had to tell on myself as mayor. I had some additional work done to it, you know, only one side was damaged, and I didn't want the truck going around with lights that really didn't match on the other side. And the other problem is they don't make those lights anymore, so it's really hard for us to find them, as to the age of the truck. So I told them to replace the lights, and that was about $4,200, so I was like, yeah, go ahead. And as they were going, they found some more lighting fixtures, a pull-out tray table to keep our guys from getting electrocuted should it hit a line. They said needed replaced, so I told them to go ahead and replace that. I did not see a reason to bring it back and then send it back out, and it ended up being a little over 7,500. So, I told on myself, the mayor admonished me, and we're all good to go. I think,
I
it
find
was
this,
not my
as an
intent.
emergency, didn't
Yes,
make any
she
sense,
did.
like you said, it's already been out of service long enough.
Yeah.
Didn't make any sense to bring it back and send it back again.
Yeah, the rear lights were gonna get replaced, it's a totally different design. Anyways, that was gonna happen.
Well, I'm more worried about the electrocution potential.
Yeah, no, well, there's a slide-out tray at the front panel, so when they're operating it, should it come in contact, they are not the ground point. And, that was, of some issue as of late, so that's been replaced.
So you're saying the good news cost $7,500?
Yes, it did. But don't you feel better about the way I delivered it?
Yes,
No?
I do.
All right.
All right, so we're waiting on the good news now.
All right, well, here's the good news, I guess. I will be bringing some legislation. I'm working with Rhonda, and we're gonna work with Patrick. We have the opportunity to get some federal drawdown funds for some of our Medicaid transports. This is what you sent me an email and asked me about earlier last month. Basically what it is we have Medicaid, we get about a third of what we bill, roughly. But we can get a little bit more, we can't get entirely what we bill, but we can get another third of it, but we have to get it from the federal government. What we get comes from the state. But what we have to do is take a certain amount of money, put it in a pot, and give that money to the state Medicare, Medicaid board. They will then turn around and draw that matching funds down from the federal Medicare and Medicaid, and then give it back to us. They don't keep any money, they just need that money in there to do the drawdown. But we have to have an MOU. Now, the company that is doing it, they're working with our billing company, they take a 10% portion of what we draw down. Not our money that we put in, just the money we draw down, and that's how they get paid. But they wanted an MOU. They had their meeting on the 6th, and they wanted it by the 30th, and I left for vacation on the 8th. So I told them they weren't getting an MOU out of us by the 6th, but I gave them a verbal agreement because I didn't think city council wanted to walk away from
Additional funding.
additional funding. You know, if I could take it from the federal government, I will, rather than taking it from our taxpayers. It's not gonna be a huge windfall, but, we will have to put a substantial chunk of money into the account, probably quarterly. They're not sure how they're doing it quite. It was just signed by the governor last year. We're not even gonna see the first drawdown till 2026. But they're in the process of getting it all set up. And that's all I got.
Any questions of the chief? All right, thanks, chief.
Yep.
All right. Next up, service department, Kim.
Update on Fairway, it's progressing nicely, all the boxes are in. We are back to a two-lane road, well, one-lane road, kind of looks like a two-lane road. We're forming curb today, they will be pouring curb tomorrow, and probably through Thursday. And then at that point, the asphalt will come next, and they'll have a road again. So probably a couple weeks, and that project will be finished up. They took out all the pumping, and the sandbags came out and left the project site today. All the hoses were rolled up, so we're starting to get the things cleaned up and buttoned up and put back together. So it's starting to come together. So nice project. It's gone very well.
Restoration will be 100% of the property owners, anything that was done to their yards.
Oh yeah, we'll restore
Okay.
everything that was disturbed, 100%. That's part of the project. That's all I have. Does anyone have any questions?
Any questions? Thanks, Kim. All right, finance department, Patty.
As you guys know, we're changing out water meters to cellular meters. We started with the manual ones that should have been changed to radio remotes years ago, and we could not get them changed. We sent out letters, we've made phone calls, the law director has sent out letters, and we're down to 15 manual meters. So, if anybody gets a letter that says their meter needs changed, call us. We've been attempting with phone calls and letters. Next step is a door hanger, and water will be shut off so we can get in and get those meters changed. So we have about 15 people on that list. So if you got a letter, please make sure you call the city. And that's all I have. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions?
I think it's fair to say that we've been trying to do this for over 10 years now.
The radio remotes, they started that change 10 years ago, and they've received numerous letters over the years. And now that we're going to cellular meters, when we read, these manuals aren't picking up. So we have to go back out and read them again, and they have to go back out and manually go to each home and read them. We have these cell meters we are starting to switch all the meters over to. Like I said, we're down to 15, but we're not, we got a good response that those 15 have been notified for at least 10 years. So we're gonna start shutting water off now.
Okay. Police Department. Chief Morris.
Well, I've got good news for you. My report will be short. I have nothing for you. I have any questions you may have. That's right.
Any questions of the police? Thanks, Chief. Oh,
Any prospects on hiring?
Yes, we will be swearing in a new full-timer Thursday morning. Fill our vacant slot. So, yeah, the mayor will be doing that. He did not want a public swearing in, so that'll work for us. We'll swear him in Thursday morning.
She was a lateral transfer.
Yes, that was the lateral transfer. He comes with a few years of experience, a couple years of experience.
all right. Mayor's report.
Okay, I'm just gonna kind of segue off of Patty and what she was saying. As we've been talking about for the past 6 months, the federal EPA is requiring Ohio EPA to identify the service lines, right? So, letters went out in everyone's bill the first time, April, May, and June. The second time, July, August, and September. We've talked about it every meeting, it's been in the e-news, it's been in the newspaper. It's due a week from Wednesday, so we're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna go tag people's doors if they're non-compliant within 3 days, and we will turn your water off. It will cost you, $65, I believe, to have it turned back on. We need to have this information or we will get in trouble with the EPA. Not only the Ohio EPA, but the federal EPA. And I know a lot of cities did this initially, so, we're out of time. We're out of time. And if people don't wanna comply, we have to.
And
How many of those do we have?
I don't know, I'll have to check with the guys tomorrow.
what was that in regards to? Lead.
There's a lead service line inventory that needs completed by the EPA, okay? And we've sent out letters, that instruct you how to do it yourself. If you don't feel comfortable, you could have called and we could have sent guys out who could have identified it for you. But at this point, we've run out of time. So we need cooperation immediately. If we don't get it, we're gonna have to turn the water off.
And it's $60, sorry.
60? Thank you.
I believe on the city website, there's a QR code that you can scan that will bring up an online survey that you could fill out. So if you go to the city website, in our news, there is a QR code that you can scan with your smartphone, and it'll walk you through the process.
And the only information we need is the address and whether it's lead, copper, plastic, whatever it is, okay? That's all you could call and leave a message, that's fine. And Bob, I just want to in particular say that the different senior housing projects in the city don't need to worry about this because we're gonna, most of them are new, so we know they're compliant, but we'll work with the managers in those situations to get those residents taken care of. Okay, that's all I have, that's my most important thing, I've got some updates. We're gonna do hydrant flushing beginning this week, expected to last 1 to 2 weeks. Planning, Zoning, and Building Commission, next Monday, will be having a public hearing at 6:45 and 6:50 for a couple of different variance requests. Curbside brush pickup, this will be the last pickup of the year. It'll be the week of October 28th. You need to have your brush out Sunday night. And trick or treat is going to be on the actual trick or treat, or on Halloween, October 31st from 6 to 8. And then we've got trunk or treat, Saturday the 26th from 5 to 8, and that'll be downtown. And I'm not sure about, I might have to cancel my coffee with Cortland because it's on Friday and I have a conflict, so I'll keep you updated. And that's all I got.
So that's, the trunk or treat last year was a huge success.
Yeah.
There was a ton of people, and it was a good night too. Let's hope the weather cooperates this year.
Yeah.
So we're gonna have an equal, turnout. All right, any questions of the mayor? All right, any committee reports this evening? All right. Anyone from the audience with questions of council? If you come to the podium, state your name and address for the record, because this, the air system is kinda a little loud, so it's drowning out anybody.
Rob Freeman, 291 Fowler Street, Portland, Ohio. I wanna know about this proposed rental inspection.
Well, it's just started. This is not the appropriate forum. We'll discuss it at our planning and zoning meeting, and then there'll be a public hearing, and then planning and zoning will vote on it, and then it'll go to city council. There'll be a public hearing again, and then there'll be 3 readings, okay? So there's ample time for you to address, come and voice your opinions. It'll probably take about 4 months to go through the entire process.
I got another question.
Sure.
How can we have 2 zoning guys running around in the same car?
Well, we only have 1 car. How about that?
There's a,
So we're spending $8,000 a month on 2 guys riding around in 1 car. Aren't they getting paid $25 an hour? So that's $50 an hour. They're riding around in 1 car.
Okay, you wanna, okay. So,
well,
We can't
this is a training process right now. And as long as they go out, they see what each other is doing, and that way they're on the same page, you know? And that way, one is going to address maybe one property owner the same way as the other would in another situation. So in other words, they kind of see, and they're feeding off of each other for right now. So eventually, no, they aren't gonna be like this forever, but yeah, I mean, they've only been at this for a month, so month and a half.
Well, who trained them? Because one was a Torrance City cop, and the other one just cut grass all the time.
Well,
Did anybody
everyone's
train them
entitled,
to do that job?
they're in the process of being trained.
By who?
Me,
and we have a consultant, Lakeshore
Yes.
Consulting, that's also training them. And all they're doing is enforcing, not even enforcing, informing people of the zoning regulations that are on the books, and they've been working on the lead pipe survey, or the lead service line inventory as well. And those are the 2 things only that they are working on at this time.
Okay. So are they gonna put something out when they're gonna do something on the rental property?
Yes,
They're gonna advertise it in the paper, or?
yes.
That'll be the next, after the, yeah.
Yeah, when it gets through planning and zoning and they've made all the changes that they want to make to the legislation, then there'll be a public hearing that will be announced, and then they'll vote, and then again, they'll make recommendations to council with whatever changes, you know, they feel are necessary. And then, again, there'll be a public hearing, which is in the newspaper, it's on the website. Where else do we normally put it?
Rob, do you get the emails from the city, the e-news?
No, I don't pay any attention to that.
Well, then you may miss it, you may miss it. It might be a good idea if it's concerning.
Well, has there been a problem with rental properties, that's gotta be jammed down our throat now, something that, you know, I gotta take more time to do?
this is not the proper forum for that discussion at this point. So, yeah, and yes, we spend quite an awful lot of time.
Okay.
And I'll be happy to let you know I own rental properties in the city too, so it applies just as easily to me as it does to other rental
Well, if you
properties.
want, I just think it's a money grab because you can see the map there, Portland's not that big. So,
Right,
the prices I've heard of what you're gonna charge a year to have somebody come in, I don't even know if you guys have anybody qualified to even inspect the house.
That's my concern.
yes, yes, and like I said, they'll be trained by our consultant.
It's just more taxpayer expense.
Just so we can get you on record, come up to the podium, your name and address, because we can't hear over the,
Neil Roman, 465 South Mecca Street. That's my biggest concern is A, which one of you is qualified to do this said inspection? I've built houses for 40 years, so I'm supposed to look some unqualified ding dong in the eyes and take his opinion of my house seriously.
well, there'll be a
My other
checklist.
question is who's paying for this, that's an additional salary that's gonna come out of taxpayer funds, correct?
No,
Oh, it's gonna work for free?
The associate,
the associate service director will be doing that.
The two clowns in the car that he was asking about.
Well,
let's,
yeah, let's not be name calling.
yeah, I mean, yes, there will be a they're developing a checklist that will be used, that you'll be able to see. It'll be published of what criteria is going to be, you know, the different things that are gonna be checked. So, yes, if you take that list and you check it all up, then it'll be a real quick inspection. But
I,
they will find things in some rentals. But again, you have to treat all rentals the same.
exactly.
So your rental may be great, but there are rentals who may not be as diligent with their upkeep. And that's part of the reason why that this program is being instituted.
If you want, the list of things, the checklist that I'm looking at is from the city of Niles. Do you have a, you know, GFI outlet wherever you have, sinks or that kind of thing? I mean, it's not, you're not gonna need a PhD, it's stuff that's visible.
That, Trumbull County,
Rob, come back up.
Trumbull County Electrical, when they inspect the houses, they have all that stuff in place.
When a house is built, yes.
Some rentals were built before.
I just think it's invasion of our,
So
because
okay.
Portland's not that big,
it's
and I just
okay,
think it's a money grab.
it's okay if I live in a house that's built 50 years ago and hasn't been inspected since, but I can't rent it out.
I'm sorry?
So it's okay, so you said that your comment was that some of the rental houses are old. Well, my house is old, you're gonna inspect my house too? That doesn't make any sense.
Is it a rental property?
No, I live in it,
Okay,
but it's
then
in
no.
Portland, so what difference does it make how old it is?
It doesn't if you're living in it.
Unless it's a rental. So
It's a rental, that's correct.
doesn't make any sense.
Well, it's protecting the renter and the rentee.
We're more concerned about outsiders that are renting than we are locals that live here.
Well, they're not outsiders if they're renting out the view of Portland.
When you,
Point.
I don't think you can really
you read in the
compare
newspaper where
Portland and Niles.
a rental is a rental.
Yeah.
Whether it's Warren, Hubbard, Niles, Allen, Cortland, a rental is a rental. Doesn't matter how
Everybody
many
keeps
or,
saying about Niles, well, Niles, it's always been a mess, it's those Warren's.
we don't wanna be a mess, so we're gonna be proactive. Just to make sure that everybody's protected as far as if they're renting, they're protected safely.
Well, who's coming up with the fee?
Planning and zoning, right?
Planning and zoning,
Planning and
well,
zoning.
yeah.
We have no say in the fee.
Well, yeah, you
Well,
do.
eventually.
Eventually
Yeah.
you will. They'll make the recommendation to you. If you guys don't agree, then you can change it.
When is the planning and zoning meeting about this?
Well, our first planning and zoning meeting that first we need to get through the legislation with the Planning and Zoning Commission. So I can't tell you right now when the public hearing is gonna be, but we'll be discussing it at the next, Planning and Zoning meeting as to how they want to handle it, whether they wanna just have, just stay in session for an extra hour after the monthly meeting. We just have to come up, or whether they wanna do workshops, which are also public.
They're all public, so you're
Every-
welcome to attend.
Yeah,
Is
I
that the
mean,
one coming up next?
I'm sorry?
That's the next one coming up?
Next
On Monday, yeah, we'll have to discuss how we wanna proceed with it. That's agreeable to the board.
It's gonna be multiple meetings before that's even finalized, so it's not gonna be a one meeting and then approved and pushed, pushed to the next level. So there'll be plenty of 3 or 4
So you don't
meetings.
even know if it'll be approved?
Right.
Well, not at this coming meeting, no.
No, I mean at the end.
Yeah, that's true, yeah, we don't.
If council does not like what comes to us, we have every right to, make suggestions or return it back.
But ultimately, it's up to you guys, not us. We have no say in it whatsoever, is what you're.
Well, you
Well,
have
public
you do
hearing.
have a say. I mean, we do take comments and feedback.
That's the purpose of the
Absolutely.
public hearing.
That's absolutely. Dennis? But again, sign up, if you're not already signed up, sign up for the e-news so you know what's on the agenda for planning, zoning, and of course, council, but again, it'll all start with planning and zoning. So if you have concerns, that's where it'll start. And then, once it gets to that, if you have questions, we're all easily available. And I welcome you to, Rob, come on back up.
So you guys push that through and it passes, what happens if you don't do it?
What do you mean, what
That's
happens if we don't do it?
what's the consequence, he's saying?
Well, that'll be spelled out in the,
Oh,
it'll be spelled out, in compliance, this is what, that's part of, it has to be very comprehensive. So,
Is that just covering rental houses or rental buildings or?
it's residential.
any rental, house or multi-unit,
Does it apply to commercial?
not at this point.
Well, you can't have residential in commercially zoned stuff, right? So, let's just say, let's take down,
Depends on the zoning.
I have commercial
Well,
rentals, it's not houses, it's just a commercial rental, so since it's a rental, is that subject to your,
He's
Not
talking about
also?
business.
Not,
is it housing?
no,
then
Okay,
it's
then
not,
no.
then this one we're talking about
It's
doesn't
housing.
apply.
okay,
Yeah.
This is where you're living
okay.
there,
about
not like
the
a
old
business
folks
coming
down
into.
Well, that was my question, commercial being a business or a
46, is that
storefront is
commercial
not
or is that,
subject
uh,
to.
No, Lake Vista would not be.
You'd be subject to fire
All of
code.
those, those are all exempt. All of the senior housing,
Aren't they rentals though?
they're, some are.
I think a good point is that we have no legislation.
Right.
Yeah.
So some of
Yeah.
these questions, we have no idea.
Yeah,
Because it hasn't been drafted.
what's in scope and out of scope for this non-occupied facilities, that'll all be part of this process of spelled out in the legislation of what's in scope, what's out of scope, and penalties and or expectations.
I think that's
Again,
what
it's
public
very,
meetings are really important, because
Yeah.
if someone has
It's in its
knowledge
infancy.
about that, they can bring it up. Because if you're on planning and zoning, you may not know, you're gonna do your own research, you're gonna be asking questions. But when the public come, especially people who own rental properties, that's extremely helpful. So then, that goes into how the legislation could be drafted. So right now, we don't have any.
there
any
is really no
legislation.
formal legislation
Yeah.
that is to be voted on right now. It's still work in progress. That's why it's gonna be many months before this.
Hasn't even been approved,
Yeah,
it hasn't even
Many
been
months.
discussed by the planning and zoning commission yet.
and then commercial, that's,
Okay,
Totally
that was
different
my,
thing.
yeah.
Okay.
Stay tuned and be involved.
Well, I'm done.
Thanks, Ron.
So real quick just to close this out, when the draft legislation is done, are we gonna post it somewhere? Because you sort of have to have that before you come to the public meeting to be able to
Yeah.
discuss it. So I-
Yeah, well, yes. It's just not posted now because, I
Right.
mean, you can,
But
Jim
it's
was
sometime in the
told
near
and
future.
got a copy of it because it's a public document, okay? But it really hasn't gone through any process yet, so,
Still a whiteboard.
yeah. So there's no point in putting it out there now.
So what comes eventually is probably not even gonna look anything like it is right now. in
I'm
draft
just
form.
saying, once it comes up, that's where I
Yeah.
guess I was going was, it seems like we should post it so that people could take a look at it. So when they come to the meeting, they've got something to,
I agree.
And I don't disagree with that at all, but.
that's all I was.
Yeah,
Thanks.
yeah.
All right, any announcements from council, any last comments from council? All right. Rhonda, I will entertain a motion for adjournment, please.
So moved.
Second. Scott Riley,
Yes.
Jim Bradley,
Yes.
Kathy Fleischer.
Yes.
Dick McLean,
Yes.
Don Moore.
Yes.
John Curry,
Yes.
Kevin Bauer.
Yes.